Hi, Matt. Good to see you face to face. I know we talk a lot over the phone and without being able to see each other, but yes, really good to see an old friend face to face virtually again.
Virtually.
Yeah. Um, yeah, as I said, I mean, an old friend, and that's really true. We've known each other for many years.
We have, mate.
We've sort of danced around each other in the contact center and business process outsourcing space. And I've had the pleasure of working with you for your Avocado 55 organization, which I see as my own, um, as well, with a great affinity for the brand, the company, and the people for probably the last 5 or 6 years. And
It will be, won't it? Yeah.
yeah, and
Wow.
very proud of what we have been able to achieve as a collective under your leadership. So really good to have a chat with you. Recognizing your knowledge, experience, and also strong opinions through a lot of research and bruises and cuts and scars that you've earned the right to have those opinions
We
and
all
and
have. Yeah, we
experience.
all have.
Yeah. So I think just as sort of leading into this chat we're going to have, we've really built our experience and expertise around transformation of the customer service contact center industry with a goal of achieving authentic excellence. I think that is the way I like to see, how we sort of deliver these things. And over the last couple of years, we've watched the emergence of AI and almost the
Yeah.
frenzy around AI and that moving into contact center AI, CCAI specifically as a discipline and a project. And we've really taken this very seriously and embarked on a massive learning journey to sharpen our expertise and our ability to transfer our experience and knowledge into that space and be a really good and trusted partner in guiding people to the right outcomes. And I know you've done a lot of thinking and a lot of work on this, and you've led Avocado 55 in that direction. So, what I would like to just to chat to you about to start the ball rolling is, what do you see as some of the massive challenges or key challenges in this CCAI, as it's known, environment at the moment?
Well, thanks, Carl. Thank you for the compliment. It's great to have you around and all the experience you bring. Yeah, CCAI, it's a challenge, isn't it? My my view is of kind of where we are as an industry is quite simple. I think if you look at an egg timer kind of shape of a diagram, you've got all this tech capability at the top in the hopper, and you've got all the demand or the growing demand within clients. Clients have to look at this type of technology. They have to start building a strategy to understand when they should implement it. Because it's an inevitable expectation now of any service and sales organization that you've got this type of technology, or you should have. It can get rid of queues. It can reduce your operating costs, so you can actually reinvest in your business, so on and so forth. So, I mean, it's huge. The reason I explain it as kind of this egg timer shape is that the narrowing in the middle, the amount it is due to the amount of companies who are able to assist clients in implementing it. Now, this isn't simple. You have to get all your ducks in a row. The transformation blueprint that we've worked off for years very successfully and brought really good returns for clients. We've adopted, as you know, now into front loading it with the requirement for CCAI with contact center AI. And I know from speaking to other people who lead similar organizations, they don't have that, which I'm really proud of, that we have that blueprint. And I know that, some of the bigger guys, particularly Accenture, right? We're talking to someone who I know at Accenture, and and their partnership with Sierra and things. I know they've got a brilliant capability, but you don't hear many others about it. And I just think that is one of the major challenges, that there are only a small number of companies that actually can actually genuinely support organisations. But yeah, I suppose that's the major challenge. The other is that there's such a lot of tech noise about. Right? So I was speaking to someone who I learnt buys services for a government, for a government on the subcontinent. They have looked at over 100 tech suppliers for this type of technology, and not one of those suppliers has actually said this is how you actually implement it to your business. So when you use the word AI, I joke that AI should actually mean it's all about implementation, because there's so much tech around, and there's some real standouts, but the majority of it is much of a muchness. Great conversational AI, great analytical capability, less capable or less brilliant number of companies that actually do high quality agent assist and thorough agent assist. That is not just a bit of process guidance or whatever, but sentiment, action, being able to deliver actions, so on and so forth. But I do think the major challenge at the moment is the number of organisations that actually have done this and have actually proven that ROI. Like, I know we can.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, there's a lot of statistics out there from very, very creditable institutions and studies that are just sort of supporting exactly what you're saying about the only 5 or 6% of all AI deployments that have been sort of researched and surveyed have delivered anywhere near what the stated or expected benefit should be. And a lot of people are talk constantly about why these things are failing. What I find really refreshing listening to you and working with you guys is it's not just about why is it not working, it's how do we make it succeed.
Yes,
and how
absolutely.
do we actually cut through all the gunf and actually deliver success and outcomes for businesses that have already deployed this and are struggling, or for businesses that are watching from the sidelines and know they've got to get involved. So I think that to me is a standout differentiator that we can talk about. And to go back to the journey that this friend of yours on the subcontinent spoke about, evaluating like 100 different providers. I mean, the journey we've been on, where we have sort of had a very close look and really kicked the tires of about 25 to 30 providers out there. And we have over time, with a lot of work, whittled it down to 5 or 6. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that journey and how we've got to the 5 or 6 and ultimately the where we are right now?
Absolutely. I mean, you led the work. We started off with the 36 originally that we listed, or that you came to us with. We dropped half a dozen or so out of that because they just weren't credible, if we're going to be honest. And then I know we kind of got to a dozen quite quickly. The assessment we did, I think, was, we've always done so since Avocado's founding in 2018, 2019. We've always done independent research, research that does look at the whole market. We've used universities to help us and things like that. At this stage, we didn't need that, but we've got to the point now of, I think, understanding that there is a there is half a dozen key players. We talked a client through those key players only last week, but there are two that we would immediately recommend, and only really one that then comes up with such a wide range of capability. The important thing for the end client is not only to choose the right supplier, the right vendor who is constantly investing, constantly has a declared roadmap. Trying to use my words carefully here, and invest the right amount of time in you as a client, and that's the key thing. A lot of them just want to sell a license and move on, and customer success is just a couple of words in the organization, and it's not something they live and breathe. I'd actually start in the reverse. I'd look at how clients manage the customer success side when I would be assessing suppliers for a client, because all the capability is much of a muchness. You can practically tick a box with capability now, and the speed of building this AI, etc. The important thing is how you actually help the client get the best out of your tooling, and there are only a few vendors do that. We've agreed to act as that customer success and that business implementation capability for a number of those vendors at the moment, which is brilliant to be recognised as that, and to be asked, not for us to go out and look for companies to do that for, but to actually be asked to do that. So I'm really proud of that. The key bit, just going back to the challenges, are getting the three key things right as well as an organisation. I think you need to make sure you're looking at, which is not only just selecting the right vendor, and I've spoken about how you kind of do that in the reverse, understand their customer success capability and their business implementation capability, but then to be looking at re-engineering your processes before you even start. So clean up your processes before you even start configuring them. There's nothing worse than putting a new fancy tool over a rubbish process, and the customer, the end user, the person you're doing this work for, the consumer of your services, still receiving poor service, but maybe in a faster way, or it's efficient, or at least they can get through. But too many companies are rushing into this and getting dead spots and getting cul-de-sacs that they're leading customers down, where the customer, the end user, doesn't have an out, doesn't have an out or a loop around to revisit once they get stuck. So process is key. Then getting all your data in the right structure, making sure it's clean, making sure it's accessible for the tool, and then knowledge. So the key bit for me is many organizations, particularly when you're looking at tier 2 agents or senior agents who know the process and policy, if you don't have what's in their heads documented in one knowledge kind of repository, then you're losing so much capability or ammunition, I suppose, for the AI to work from. So the approach we've taken, and adapted most recently, improving all the time, is that we use a partner company to clean up the data. We start with your processes, we extract knowledge from the processes, we clean up the policies, extract knowledge from the processes, and then we double check that with the people who actually really know what's going on. And then we end up with a knowledge base with clean policies signed off and owned by someone, and processes signed off and owned by someone, that the AI then can then be built to and work from. And it works. Tick, done. And yeah, I mean, I can go on forever, but yeah, That's where I think we've got the advantage because of the research that we did. We understand where the technology is, but we also understand how to implement it.
Yeah, I mean that that makes a lot of sense, Matt, especially if you listen to all the anecdotal feedback and messaging you get anywhere on social media or any of these podcasts or conferences that people sit and talk at. It all talks to how do we achieve success. And I think the big thing where it works is if you become an experienced and trusted partner, that you can lead an organization on an informed transformation, because this is what it is, where they are ready for the change and they can have the resources. Because I think that's the other part that we always talk about, is the lack of the knowledge, the skills and the resources currently in companies, where we come in and we can sort of support that. And when we through the process, they've got upskilled people in their team that sort of can carry this on, after it's gone live, and help optimize and increase it and achieve the benefits, which I think is also a key thing that we always talk about, is how do we track and ensure that our clients and our partners actually deliver the benefits that they are looking for, and the benefits are in the right place and achieved in the right way according to their guardrails. I think that is another word that we use quite a bit. But now that we've sort of shared a lot of that information, Matt, where do we, what are your thoughts in terms of where we find ourselves now with our partners, and more specifically our primary sort of partnership that we've embarked on, even while we retain our commitment to independence and our ability to be objective in our striving to always give the best service to our customers. But like you said earlier, you alluded to the fact that we've sort of got one really good partner that we have a great match with, and that we have a great sort of relationship with. You wanna share a bit more about your thoughts on that with us?
So we've been asked by 4 vendors, excuse me, who and recently, if people watch this, then they will have seen the announcement that we've agreed to be UK business implementation partner for UJet. Really like the company, Vasily, the CEO, cracking guy, brilliant team. Michelle, Gary, Matt, Nuno, the lot of them. I think because of the wide-ranging set of products they have to enable effective transformation and game-changing transformation, that's why I was more than comfortable to sign to be that implementation partner for them. It's interesting that you kind of mentioned the return on investment bit prior to that. The return on investment for a partner and the return on investment for a client, or a vendor and a client, are obviously 2 different things. Yeah. The effort that's put into selling, and I know this wasn't what you were leading to, but the effort was put into selling that a lot of companies are going at vendors is very much a high level statement of what return you can get, that the client can get, but they're not helping the client get there.
Yeah.
Now, I always look back and look at companies I worked for that have had, say, big offices or whatever. They don't have, sat in the basement, a team of builders, a team of bricklayers, a team of architects just sat there waiting to go and build the next version of that office block or that factory or that warehouse. They bring in contractors, they bring in specialists to do that. So why on earth do customer service organisations think that people who are brilliant at running BAU services can do can do the change, the step change, as a side of desk or as part of their role. It absolutely frustrates me. The average, from the last few assessments that we've done, and we're soon to launch the contact center AI assessment online that we've done a lot of work on, and we didn't want to launch too early. So the CCAI readiness, there's a few of those around, but this is definitely going to be the most thorough. When you look at the test cases that we've run clients through there, you've got clients spending, say, let's just do round numbers, 10 million, right, on running a customer service and sales organization. We go in and tell them you can save £2 million easy a year. Okay. Now, most CFOs will look at a 3 to 5 year return period on the investment. But if we're telling you it'll cost you 300,000, 350,000 to implement it, and running costs of, say, $250,000 a year, the savings are huge, absolutely huge. And it honestly does my head in that senior people in organizations who should know better, right, think that a service director who is bloody good at running that service organization and his team are capable of doing that whole transformation. Yeah. The same for IT teams, right? The same for tech teams in organizations. They don't have the huge change resource that this takes. And, that's why our blueprint comes along with, and it is a sales pitch, this, right? Obviously, right? Yeah. But our blueprint comes along with all the resource that's required. And the return on investment is huge, absolutely huge. And it's, if you're going to be saving yourself 10, 12 million pounds over a 5-year period, and it costs you less than $500,000 to implement it, why even think about trying to do it internally? The good thing about the external influence as well is that we guide you through those hard decisions. We had the call with the UK retailer a few weeks ago, and an awkward moment when the service director realized that that where they were was 40% more efficient than they had been prior to the start of the project. Yeah. And this was after 6 months settling down time, something like that. So, but then it comes time for that decision. You either need to have a growth plan to fill that 40%, or you need to have a plan to save the money, to realize the saving. And that company had done neither, right? Yeah. They were just happy, absolutely brilliant. And, at the success, they thought the success was amazing, but they weren't realizing the saving. And of course, we're now helping them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, these examples are really sort of striking, Matt. And I mean, like you said, it sort of boggles the mind that people want to do this massive change and investment internally with existing sort of business as usual resources, where that's a clear indication that people are thinking this is just another tech play or another tech deployment, where this is actually a business transformation journey.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times the guys doing the day-to-day don't have the necessary skills or capabilities that are required. And of course, they need the leadership and the guidance and the advice. But what also is an added benefit, as I listen to you and I'm thinking about this, is that once the deployment is in place and the org has moved to a position of readiness, you also end up with the people inside the organization that helped with the journey are now have required or acquired a new set of skills.
Absolutely.
That they can then continue running this, this new solution and this new transformed business with and help deliver the profits. So it makes so much sense if you listen to it and you talk about it. But obviously, it needs people to make these good decisions.
Absolutely, I totally agree. So I don't know the conclusion to all of this for me is that there is so much to save, so much cost benefit to realize, that why not look seriously at using an expert company like us, right, to do this for you. We can take organizations through the whole supplier selection, vendor selection process if needed, or we can make recommendations. But the one thing we absolutely can do is we can practically guarantee your return on investment if you follow our lead, if you use us to deliver, to get these huge 10, 15x over a 5-year ROI. It's, these things just don't happen normally. You don't hear of this. I've never heard of this type of transformation opportunity in the whole of my 30-odd year career. So that would be my kind of parting statement along with, use companies that really value what they do for you. And we, as that independent, probably one of the leading ones, easily one of the leading ones in the UK, we know exactly what we're doing, and I'm dead proud of that. And thank you for all your hard work as well. I know this is, it's a bit of a, I'm usually interviewing people on these things. I'm not usually being interviewed, so it's a bit awkward.
I just wanted to flip the script a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Great idea. But it's so important now that we, as an industry, take this opportunity seriously, and don't do what a lot of us have done for years. Is this will just be a flash in the pan, or it's going to be too much effort. Don't shy away from it.
No,
crack
agree,
on.
Matt. I mean, I would love to chat with you again about the whole BPO sector and CCAI in
Absolutely.
that sector, because I think there that's a different story for another day. And then, of course, to just sort of, when we get an opportunity, to look at our readiness/maturity framework we are also, ready to launch.
Absolutely.
That would be really nice to chat to you about that as well.
All right, mate. Thank you.
Fantastic, Matt. Lovely chatting. Good seeing you again.
Cheers,
and
Carl.
we'll keep this going, and we'll achieve our success.
And the next time, I'll come to Madeira to record it face to face with you. There we go.
That would be fantastic.
That sounds like the best thing. It's a good excuse. All right, cheers then.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carl.
Ciao.